I dare you. What is in your heart? Who says you can't go after your dreams? Nobody told me I couldn't go after dreams. I need to go after my dreams. Yeah, I know. But there's that voice behind you in your back of your head that says, oh, I wonder what people will think. Oh, maybe I should do a bit more research. Well, yeah, do your research. But quite often, and I've been in this boat where we feel like we want to do something, but my goodness, we think, oh, I better find out what so-and-so thinks. And it's good to get advice, but you're not asking permission. If you are a grown-up, it is time to take charge of your life and make some decisions and actually do them without fearing whether you need someone else's permission. And my guest today is Amanda Mae Gray of the podcast Yes, You May, who is going to release you into doing whatever it is you want to do. And we're going to meet her right after right after this. The strongest prison bars are in your head. Leaders and teams, it's time for a jailbreak. Amanda Mae Gray. I was so excited about this that I had already posted a comment on YouTube from me. So
I posted a comment to myself.
I did. Well, here I was testing it out, really. But here's the thing. I have struggled so much over the last 10 years, stuffing things up, going to prison, losing everything, and the courage that I needed to actually get out there, that if I had had what you give people, that confidence to give myself permission, I was looking too much for other people to validate whether, because it was so scary.
Yeah.
And not everybody has had a prison experience, but it's scary. So please tell our audience about what you do, how you help people, and then we'll talk a bit more about the background of that.
Sure. Yeah. So thanks, Trish, for having me on. I appreciate it. My name is Amanda Mae Gray. Like Trish mentioned, I host the Yes, You May live stream podcast, which is like super close to this. But my mission is to empower and uplift specifically women to believe in themselves so that they can say yes to themselves and give themselves permission. All too often, we are looking for outside validation when we don't need it. We don't need somebody to come to us and say, oh, yes, Trish, you can have a TV show. You're good enough to do that. You don't need any of that. You just have to choose to do it. You have to choose to take action. And you have to choose to trust the right people when you do share these ideas. That makes a huge, huge difference.
Wow. It sounds like such an obvious thing. But I did find, and I'm sure, and it's not just women, but women do tend to over discuss things and get every opinion and looking for that. I am one who looks for reassurance. I'm an encourager by nature. And I look for that. My love language is words of affirmation.
Yes.
And I feed off. It's a fuel for me, for people to say, Trish, you can do this. But I've got to be able to do that for myself. So what you're saying is really important. It's like we have these. Oh my goodness, it's just something that really helps set people free.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference when you finally realize you can do that. Because I know for me, it was like, I never thought I was good enough. I never thought I could go be a model. I never thought I could go be an actress because it wasn't a real job. And like somebody needed to tell me I was talented enough and all this nonsense, when in reality, like I just had to step out there and start doing it and proclaiming to myself and to the world that this is what I'm doing and I'm going to do it. Everybody else, be DAM damned.
Okay, well, look, let's pull back a bit, and it is a leap to go from I'm scared, I don't really know what I'm doing, I've got this idea, I think I want to do it, to go straight over to stuff what everyone else thinks. I'm just going to do it come hell or high water and hang the consequences. There's somewhere in between. There's a journey, and I'm not necessarily convinced that we can be so confident that we don't care at all, because I mean the marketplace is the marketplace. If there's a market, there's a market. So talk to us about that, like when it's really hard and you're really scared, what do we do then?
Yeah, that was my biggest wonder. How do I go from X to Z? Somebody recently asked me, actually one of my mentors, he's like, you accomplished some crazy things. How did you get there? And I had to think about it. Normally you just want to have that instant answer like, oh, I did this. And I didn't have that answer. And what I realized that I did differently than other people was raise my hand. I offered to do things. I asked questions. I seeked out other people who were already doing what I wanted to do, and I offered to be there. I got myself involved. So I think one of the biggest things that I've realized is it's really easy to not think something is possible when you don't know anybody who's already doing it, or even just doing it a little bit. It's really easy to be like, oh, well, those stars in Hollywood, like, But if you have somebody that you can find, whether you know them or you know them 6 degrees of separation, that is doing something similar somewhere in that field, or even just a few steps ahead of where you are now, that makes it real and tangible. Knowing other podcasters makes me feel like I can have a podcast. Whereas before, when I just saw these big, big podcasts and their super success, it was super, super overwhelming. I didn't know where to start. I had a million questions. I overthought every single thing. But then I started to meet people who were already doing it. And that made me feel like, oh, well, if they're doing it, I can do it too. And maybe I can ask them some questions. So the key is finding other people who are doing what you want to do, or just a few, somewhere similar, and then get to know them. Find out where they started. Ask them for help and see where that leads you.
And key wording is asking for help, not asking permission.
Correct.
So what I heard you say in that is finding, you don't ask just anybody.
Right.
Find people who are already doing something similar to what you want to do.
Yes.
Might be different, might be a podcast, might be in a different topic. Or in the workplace, it might be someone they might be at another company, because sometimes you want to keep these things a little bit confidential.
Absolutely. Yes, that is a good point.
In a corporate world, you might find a colleague at another company. This is why networking is really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And just have coffee and say, can you talk to me about your career path and what's helped you and so on? And if you're at a different company, you're not a threat to them.
Exactly.
You're not. That's not going to be. Sorry, so you got to choose your people really, really carefully.
You do.
Yeah, and that's really important. And then it's more realistic. You're not so scared.
Exactly.
They can do it. You can too.
That's the key. That's the key, is finding somebody to bring it into reality for you. And that's very similar to mentorship, right? Which mentorship can be taken in so many different directions, but you can be mentored by somebody that you don't even know. But you don't want to go so far out with all of your mentors that it just seems like you could never possibly get there. You don't want to see all those celebrities, even the big real estate people, like the people on Shark Tank, right? I love all of them. I learned a lot from them, but they're so much higher up that for me starting out, it's like, okay, well, I could never get there. I don't know how to they don't know where I'm at. I don't know where they're at. But if I'm finding somebody that's a few steps above me that I can relate to, that maybe I have something in common with, it brings it back down to earth. And when you can actually really believe something is possible for you and not just a pipe dream, that's when it can come into reality.
Well, that's right. And if they are way above you, maybe they've got a course or a book that you could just start with.
Yes.
Read a book on the topic and get some skills up.
Exactly.
Because yes, you want to do what you want to do, but the reality is you've still got to be good at it, and it's not that you have to be. You don't have to be perfect at it, but you do need to know what you're doing. So and you'll still make mistakes. There'll still be there'll still be a dog that barks. Well, you know what? So many Zooms these days. There's a dog. I've actually got Dash down here right now. I used to lock him up upstairs, but as long as he can't see the birds and the door's shut, we're usually pretty good, and I can quickly mute myself. Or every now and again, if I've forgotten to put my phone on mute, and it starts, and I go, ugh, and just quickly just do it naturally, because most of us right now are in our homes, in our studios, and we don't have a perfect world. And I think sometimes, what would you say to someone who feels like, but I don't have the perfect studio ready, I don't have this go, I need to wait until I've got all my little ducks in a row, because you also help people with their studios too. As an example, I've needed to get everything ready and perfect before going, like, doing live streams, maybe out on location. It's like, but my hair isn't done, my lipstick, talk to me. And that's so different to Hollywood, where they might do 100 takes to get something perfect.
Exactly.
Talk to us about that perfectionism syndrome that handicaps us.
It is a handicap, and I have it so bad. I am such a, I want everything to be just so, and it's something that I had to get over. And you have to understand, people enjoy watching you on the journey. Yeah. That's, I think, the big thing. Who doesn't love a good makeover story, right? We love the before and after photos, whether that's a house renovation, whether it's the personal renovation. We all love to see that, what it was and what it became. It's that story that we enjoy. And when you're starting off, you probably have a very small audience, right? If we're talking about the studio portion of it, they're going to enjoy watching you go from not great, just kind of trying to do it, to a more polished look. And it's going to be a process. It's going to be a journey that you have to go through, but people are going to appreciate that. And the really cool thing behind you just starting, jumping in and just doing it, and just keep striving to evolve and do something more each time, be a little bit better each time, is that you're going to inspire somebody else, and you're going to have no idea. One of my sayings is, who you inspire is beyond what you know. Because people aren't going to tell you.
Hold on. That was really good.
It's one of my favorite things. I think I came up with it. I don't know. Who you inspire is beyond what you know.
Wow. Who you inspire is beyond what you know. You don't know where your stuff is going to go and who it's going to reach.
You have no idea.
It's so true. Every now and again, you'll hear back from someone, especially if you've written a book. If you're thinking, should I write a book? I've had people message me and saying, Trish, you don't know me, but I read your book. Yeah. And it helped me. What that does for me, it's like, it's so worth it.
Yeah. And even, I think what's even more powerful for me anyways, is when somebody that I know, maybe not super well, but they're an acquaintance of some point through this journey, because I started doing, lives beginning of January. And I have had people that I know in my old industry of selling alcohol, they've come up to me, I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. This is so cool. And I'm like, you watched that? Really? There will be people that you don't think care at all. I've had people from my high school. Let me tell you, I talked to one person from my high school actively. I was not popular in high school. I was not at all. I was the kid from out of town that moved to the new high school and was loud and crazy and maybe a little bit of a know-it-all. I'll admit it. Sugar, I know. But they've reached out to me over the years, even just like moving around, doing different things, getting out of the state of Maine, which, is pretty small. I've had people reach out and say something like, just watching you do this, seeing you do this makes me feel like I can do this. I moved from Florida to Atlanta, Georgia, and I knew absolutely nobody. I just decided to do it one day, which is a whole nother story. But
Wow.
I've had more than one person reach out to me afterwards and be like, just watching you move and be successful made me have the confidence to be able to move.
So good. You
I
did
didn't
it. You
I
stood
didn't do
up.
that for them. I didn't, try to find. I just did something and I put it out there. I was public about it. I didn't try to polish it up too much. It was just what I was doing, and other people found inspiration from it. So what is it
Great.
in your life that you're doing that maybe you could be sharing publicly that could help somebody else? Even just smiling and holding a door open or making somebody laugh through the drive-through, it makes a difference in somebody else's day. And maybe they're just that much nicer to the next person in the drive-through.
Fabulous. Fabulous. All those little things help build our confidence to be bold. And it doesn't mean you have to change your personality.
No.
You just do just that little bit more. So that's when people might work for themselves. They might be, making decisions about their own life. But let's talk about people who might be on, because this broadcast is broadcasting live into LinkedIn
Okay.
and YouTube and Facebook, and,
Hello.
and that's right. And so, so by the way, please like, comment, subscribe wherever you might be for this. But suppose you've got people watching this and they work in a company.
Mhm.
They're not the boss, but they would like to do more. They would like to move ahead. They would like to initiate projects and do the Sheryl Sandberg lean in. But they may be feeling a very real pressure, and the pressure may be one that is external, that has been expressed, or it may just be what's in their head.
Yep.
About the risk associated with putting your hand up in that corporate environment and standing out. There's the confidence to do that and the way to do that, but there's also this perception, and it's real, that women particularly, are you too pushy, and or you're doing that as putting someone else down, or compete. What is it that the whole, talk to me about the psychology within that environment,
Yeah.
particularly as it pertains to women.
Yeah, that's something that I have a lot of experience with. I was in a male-dominated sales organization that was 100% commission. So there was no guaranteed paycheck, and it was a boys club. And I had to find my own way of doing things, of making sales, and I ended up getting promoted as the recruiter for the organization. And what I ended up doing that I think can help other people was just take little stances. Stand up for yourself, be verbal about what you want to do, but also offer to do little things. Go out of your way to be nice and be helpful. Don't try to be all centered on, what you're doing, but how can you find little ways to be helpful above and beyond? And if you're in an environment that maybe you have a bad boss and they're suppressive, I've been in those environments as well, and it's not fun. But maybe you can find an organization outside of what you do, some sort of a volunteer organization, to hone those skills. There are
Oh,
plenty
great.
of different things. Let's see, like Habitat for Humanity, Toastmasters, the Rotary Clubs. There are plenty of different volunteer organizations that you can get involved in to gain skills in leadership, in communication, in leading a team, right? In management, in all of those things, whatever it is that you want to do, I guarantee there's some sort of a volunteer organization, maybe even Big Brothers, Big Sisters is a great opportunity
Yeah.
that you can then gain confidence from doing things in the volunteer world, that when you go and try to do something more in your company, you can stand in solid ground knowing I have these skills because I have done it, instead of I haven't done it, but I really want to do it, but I don't want to lose my job, right? Take all that out, because whenever you are like, when you know something, when you really know something, you can talk about it, you're confident in it, and you can own it.
That's
So
so
go
good.
find a way to own it and then
So
bring it into
good.
that.
and particularly with women, I'm going to throw in a plug for the volunteer club that I'm involved in,
Okay.
and that is Seroptimist International, which is professional women who are giving back to do projects for women and girls. But what I also found is I joined them very early on, and they were the ones. It was those women who encouraged me and supported me, particularly in my book for women on finance and relationships. And I ended up, becoming a president of a chapter. So, and these things add to your resume as well. And so you get the practice, but you can also go to those people and say, hey, look, this is going on at work. Can you advise me on how I can handle it?
Yes.
Or I want to go for this promotion. Can you, and these people in those clubs, they're not just there to be volunteers. They have their workplace skills as well.
Exactly.
That can support and help you. So that's brilliant. And
It's
if you are a
networking,
professional woman,
right?
yeah,
It's also networking and finding people that you wouldn't otherwise find. You have this one little common interest, but if you went out to a bar, would you guys start talking? Probably not. And if you just go to a normal networking event, how awkward can those be? But if you have that shared interest in the volunteer organizations, you're going to meet all kinds of people. All kinds of people. And I know this for a fact because I'm in a volunteer organization and I've been exposed to so many different people in my area that there's no way I would have met them otherwise. And I mean, I am a tall redhead, right? I am the traditional classic American girl next door. Not everybody wants to talk to me. They don't. But when I'm in this volunteer setting, it lowers that barrier and it makes it more approachable. So we get to have an actual honest conversation versus that traditional immediate judgment based on the way we both look.
Oh man, and isn't that a thing that well, it's not just women, men do it too, but
we all do it.
My goodness. I mean,
Women do it to women.
Look,
I've had
true.
experiences like that and it's so frustrating. I'm like, no, I would just want to be your friend.
Yeah. And some just don't. They've got their own hang-ups, their own, you're a threat. And so I have actually found that my best advocates in the workplace have been older men.
Yeah.
And in a totally nice way, a wholesome way. But it's been the older women who have, I guess that is that older generation as well, where it was tough for them.
Yeah.
And they had to claw their way to the top, and they are tough, and they have no patience and tolerance for foolishness or for indulgence, and they expect you to pay your dues as well. And I get that, but it's not helpful. We need to also be people who, sometimes they do need our permission in a workplace sense.
Correct.
But how you approach asking for it, you can be kind of not confident. Oh, do you think it might be all right? Or the attitude you bring of, hey, look, I have an idea that I'd like to run past you that may help. So talk to me about the attitude of asking, that confident way of asking, so that you don't shoot yourself in the foot with your self-doubts showing too much, even though you might have them.
Yes. So I have a term for this. I call it relaxed confidence. And it's something that I figured out. I've done a lot of runway modeling. I've done pageantry, things like that. And I had to learn how to walk down a runway, in whatever the heck I was wearing. I mean, it's been some crazy stuff, and look confident. And what I learned from that was that when I am 100% in where I am, this go back to something we said earlier, when I am 100% in what I know, then I can just roll my shoulders back, shake it out, literally physically shake it out, take a deep breath, and just say what I know and share what I really know. And that's when things come across well. Because I do it still. I get all up in my head and I'm like, oh, well, maybe if you want to. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Nobody
so
wants
what if you are not sure that you really know your stuff, but you just have a feeling and you just want to get it started and you don't have that confidence? How do you can you still do that and look confident and relaxed, even though on the inside you're thinking, I really don't quite know what I'm talking about, but I kind of do, and you're not there? You're sort of on that journey. And because I don't want people to be in that position and say, well, I can't do that because I don't really quite haven't quite got the confidence. I've just more got the hope and the feeling. Talk to me about that.
Yep. So you always want to be grounded in your own truth.
Uh-huh.
And you don't want to project that you know something you don't know. So this is where honesty comes into place. You can still use my method of physically shaking your body, literally rolling your shoulders and relaxing them down, taking a deep breath, and then just speak to what you know, but be honest about what you don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is going to 100% work out, but I had this idea and this particular facet worked for X, and I'm wondering if it could work for us.
Okay, let me grab you there.
Okay.
Hang on, let me grab you there. This is great. See what Amanda just did there? It was in the tone of her voice. So even though she didn't feel confident about what she was saying, she didn't say it with a subordinate kind of a fearful, I'm really not sure about this. And what she was, look, I'm not sure about this, but maybe it could work. So even though her words were unsure, her tone and delivery was honest, and it's the honesty that gave it the strength.
Yes.
This is really key. That's why I grabbed you there, because your whole body and your delivery, because I want this to serve the people who do feel fearful and unconfident, lacking in confidence, but they do want to get further on,
Absolutely.
and because that's where I was terrified for so long, needing someone to tell me, like, is it okay if, and I did have people who were patient with me and who really did say, come on now, Trish, come on now, you can.
Yes, and you need your cheerleaders.
You do, but what you do, Amanda, is you can fast track that transition. And that's why I wanted you on the show, because if I had known you 8, 10 years ago and I had you coaching me then my journey would have been faster, and I would have had less mental torment and insecurities and fears and the palpitations and, and all that sort of stuff. So I want to show people your website.
Sure.
Which is,
oh, hey, Dash, what's up? He's like, I don't want to see your website. I'm trying to be confident, Mom.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So, that's my husband popping his head in saying, I'm going to start the mower. And I just said, give me 5 minutes.
Right.
So
I was like right there.
Right there. And so here we are.
Hey.
This is Amanda Mae Gray's website. Amanda Mae Gray. She is she's a coach, she's a speaker, she just does so much. But for building your confidence and as well as this, we have Amanda's YouTube channel where you can see her in action. Not only can you see her, look down here, who's this?
Look at that. Would you just look at that?
How to Trust Your Judgment. And you'll be able to click on there and watch her interview of me. That's on there too. So by all means, please visit Amanda's YouTube and subscribe. Look, I'm subscribed.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And her website. So look, Amanda Mae Gray, you are someone who can really help. And I know you work with lots of people. I would highly recommend, particularly if you're a woman in the workplace or got your own business, particularly if you're on LinkedIn, I would suggest connect with Amanda and talk to her about the things that you might be doing that are undermining you, that you're waiting for permission when you don't need to, but also to get that guidance so that you do it well. So, Amanda, thank you so much for being on Trish TV. It's been an absolute inspiration and a motivation, and I just can't wait to get on and do more stuff and get
Yes,
fired up.
because you can. Because you just
I
have to
can.
decide that you can do it.
Because I may. Yes, you may.
Yes, you may, Trish. Yes, you may.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you.